Hi, thanks for having us. So my name is Victoria Warren. I work for Lucideon. We're a company that is a little bit different. We're a team of scientists and engineers who are on the doorstep, and we work with some of the world's best known organizations to solve their material problems. We work with materials such as metals, ceramics, advanced ceramics and polymers, and we help those organizations be confident in using those materials, whether they're on football stadiums, whether they're in mass construction, whether they're in aerospace and in defense, in armory or security. I am very lucky to work with 240 of the most brilliant minds in their chosen fields of science. But not all of them started out with a scientific background. And I've got two of our colleagues with me today, and we're going to share a little bit about the journey that you've been on and how you got to Lucideon from school through to work in the lab. We have sites in Stone and in Stoke-on-Trent. We have 3 sites in 3 states in the US also. And working in our Stone site, we have Ethan, Ellis and Ayre. And I'm really pleased to introduce them to you this evening, and we're going to find out a little bit more about them and how you got to where you are. So naturally to my left, I've got Ethan. Hi.
Hello.
I keep dragging you around to these outreach places, right? But we're having some fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy kind of explaining to kind of younger people than me what material science actually is, because when I applied for my material science degree apprenticeship, I didn't even know what material science entailed at all. So it's kind of good to show other people what this actually is and what they're applying for. So yeah.
I love that. And what are people applying for? What did you apply for when you were looking for an opportunity?
So I took an interest in kind of like product design and innovation, and Lucideon is a place that kind of is always creating new things. We don't do any used and old stuff. It's always right on the peak of innovation. So for example, some of the things that I do at Lucideon are kind of armour innovation for defence, which I can't talk about massively because it's all secretive. But we also are kind of government funded and kind of looking at new technologies. So I do a lot of processes and make a lot of materials that aren't in industry at the current time. So it's always really interesting to go through all that.
And we might get to hear a little bit about what some of those materials might be, but I'm keen to introduce Connor as well into this evening. Connor, tell us a little bit about you.
Hello. So I came from a very different route to Ethan. I was more A-levels, did physics, chemistry and maths, so I was very sciencey. I'd heard about material science and had some friends that were applying to it, but hadn't really researched it myself. So originally I was more into the physics and astrophysics, but was looking at career opportunities, and there's just not that many there. So I thought material science is a much better route because fundamentally everything will come around to material science some way or another. So I took a year out of uni when I was deciding that, just worked another job, got some experience, built up some of my soft skills to take into an interview for a better opportunity like this degree apprenticeship, so I can get practical experience and the same bachelor's in engineering degree at the end. So I've got the qualification and experience to take forward into my career.
And Connor, how did you find us here at Lucideon? How did you apply?
It wasn't the same way you'd expect for sort of university courses. It was actually just a job application on Indeed. There was originally a level 3 one for a lab technician, but with my A-levels I didn't want to repeat myself, so I went straight for the level 6 opportunity when I saw that come up. So a level 6 was a way to progress myself and get the experience.
Yeah, and we're really glad you did. And so day to day, you've gone from a school lab into a real life lab. Tell us about the things that helped you in school and equipped you to work in industry in commercial labs.
So a lot of the science stuff that you learn or do in labs is very small scale or old, but it's good skills to learn to actually take into practice in labs, as well as lots of the science knowledge for, say, physics with material properties. You learn about them, but then you get to test them and sort of understand the effect of them in the labs.
Do you have fun?
Yes. Some days are a bit more difficult when things don't go to plan, but it's all a learning curve and you learn valuable lessons. But overall, yes, I have lots of fun in the labs.
Yeah, and the things with research and development is we don't know how it's going to go, right? And so there's a lot of unknowns. How have you been challenged as an apprentice? What are some of the things you've really enjoyed working on?
So there's lots of sort of novel technologies that we haven't got much experience with or anywhere in the world does. So there's materials we work on that are commonly used and processes that are commonly used, but sticking the two of them together hasn't really happened anywhere else before, which is what makes it very exciting. So lots of the problems we find no one else has had before, so we've got to figure it ourselves from the start.
So you're leading in science. So what our apprentices are doing is they're contributing to the field of science. Our apprentices have produced case papers that have been released into the scientific world that basically show what you can do with a material that's not been applied in a certain way before. And we certainly test those materials to the extremes. And we do that in Stone and in Stoke-on-Trent. And Ethan, you are heading up a lot of our thermal processing, basically the really hot stuff. So we can go up to 3,000 degrees, right? Tell us about a typical day for you.
So I deal with a lot of thermal processing stuff, like Vic said. Which thermal processing is a very heavy machinery-based type of work. So I like the image that was just on screen is one of our furnaces that costs virtually £1 million. And strangely enough, I'm the type of person that gets put into the hands of that type of equipment. So like Victoria said, we can take materials up to 3,000 degrees, which is like 5 times as hot as molten lava, just to put that into perspective. And then we can also work with things like recently we did 100% hydrogen firing of ceramics. Very dangerous, obviously. I'm sure you all understand how explosive things like hydrogen are. So it's just kind of that really extreme environments that can't be done anywhere else in the UK or even most parts of the world.
And it's in your lab.
Yeah, it's all in my lab, and I'm all working on it on a day-to-day basis because I'm always in the labs.
Sounds really cool. So if you're at school and you like noise, destruction, testing things out, pressing the button that everyone says don't press.
Yeah, I've pressed the big red button before. Yeah.
Then there's definitely a potential career for you here. Ethan, tell us about what you're most proud of achieving as an apprentice.
I would say stuff like outreach events are really good to me. So in school, I was always a very shy kid. I had no confidence at all. I probably still don't. But I get dragged along to a lot of kind of outreach events like this, speaking to people and doing a lot of internal presentations where I kind of talk on the work that I've done. And that's one of the best things, is that the apprenticeship has kind of enabled me to be able to build my confidence and start giving talks. So, for example, another thing that I'm doing is I'm speaking at a conference for the first time, which is very daunting, but I'm really excited to do stuff like that.
He also taught about 200 Year 7 kids a few weeks ago in the summer and taught them about advanced ceramics. So you really are stepping out of your comfort zone. Thank you. And for you, Connor, what's some of the kind of things that you're really proud of achieving?
I think it's personally just my growth in my career, because some of the things that I do on the day-to-day I wouldn't have thought I'd be able to do, say, 2 years ago before I started at Lucideon. So it's just being able to learn new skills, adapt and apply them, sort of giving advice to technical leads, so the seniors that have years and years of experience, actually using my my knowledge I've gained in the last couple of years to help with projects and benefit science.
Yes, and it really does, yeah. And for you, how you've had fun along the way, you've met new people, right, and challenged yourself. What comes next?
So, I mean, there's lots of people I've met, lots of people that I've learnt from and can still learn from, but it's one thing I've done recently is using my knowledge to teach interns or the newer apprentices and getting to pass on some knowledge and get experience with training people or with, say, more senior roles, so you can like sort of develop the next generation of scientists whilst you're still developing your own skills.
Yeah, I love that. And you really are contributing to the field of science, both of you, and all 7 of our apprentices that we have. And we take on a couple of apprentices every single year at Lucideon, based in our Stone site. And Ethan, you've been working on some pretty amazing stuff together with Connor at different parts of the processing. And I think it blows people's mind to hear about the kind of things that go on the doorstep, locally, in Stone. Can you maybe share with the students here today kind of one of the most out-of-this-world projects you've worked on?
Yeah, so one of the projects that I work on is consolidating moon soil. So, yeah, very much out-of-this-world type of stuff. So we got tasked with getting moon soil and having to consolidate that so we could make it into building materials. And that's all in kind of the aid of like the space race of building lunar bases on the moon, which is, yeah, that's one of the most insane things that I've done, I think. Yeah.
It really is. And it really is out of this world stuff. And we're really proud to have you, as we are with all of the team. And we're building futures for our apprentices. We're laying pathways and climbing frames, if you like, because it's not a traditional career ladder as we hear anymore. It really is a climbing frame. We have people within the team who are on the images you see, like Katie here. She just won the Rising Star Award at the National Apprenticeships Regional Award, and she won that just last week. And she came from a psychology and English background. She had no science in her A-levels. But what she did have was curiosity. So we like to work with the most curious minds who maybe are not sure of where they fit, and we find projects in industries where you fit and you can flourish. Thank you for having us. I think I've come about to the end of my time, and we'll stick around if there are any questions. Thank you.